Okay, I am live right now. Hi, I have to go to work in a few minutes, but I felt compelled to do a very quick live stream because uh, there was two videos, and I'm going to put the link down afterwards. There's two videos that I watched concerning my favorite, some of my top favorite YouTube online left commentators. Before I go into that, I want to make an aside note, and I'm planning to once a week do an interview with various people on the online left, or leftists who are willing to listen to me for about an hour, and we can exchange ideas. I have Michael Richards, All American Socialist. He was supposed to be interviewed last week. We had communication problems, and we're going to have that resolved. And hopefully in the next week or two, I'll be interviewing Michael Richards. And hopefully tomorrow morning, Catherine Ann McCloskey will be interviewed as well. So as I said, you got a spoiler alert of at least two people who are going to be interviewed very soon. Now, I want to talk about the Amazing Atheist and Kyle Kulinski. And what's really interesting about them both is, they they're like really one of the top ones I listen to on the online left. Um, I got introduced to the Amazing Atheist in 2008, and I've been listening pretty steadily and consistently since I first heard of him 2008. Always like his material. I would say that I agree politically with him 95% of the time. I was introduced to Kyle Kulinski by watching videos from The Amazing Atheist. And once I started watching the content of Kyle Kulinski, I also became a very, very big fan. And in fact, Kyle Kulinski, I tend to agree with 95% plus, 95% of the time and plus. In other words, they're they're like the ones I agree with politically the most, and it is with good reason. Both the Amazing Atheist and Kyle Kulinski are about socialists. They're both civil libertarians or left libertarian, and they are both very staunch supporters of free speech, absolutism. Well, there is a nuance here that I'm going to talk about, which is why I'm going to do this video. But they're very ideologically similar, and I consider both the Amazing Atheist and Kyle Kulinski, broadly speaking, as far as part of the online left, they represent more of, and this term humors me, and I would be considered this as far as being an online leftist personality, part of the dirt bag left. I love that term. It humors the hell out of me, because it's like something that people do as a badge of honor, or by those who kind of express their leftism in a very politically incorrect way, versus those who has a more SJW type mentality. And I identify more on the dirtbag left side. Um, both are for the same things. It's just that one side feels like they can get their agenda across better by, being a dirtbag. Well, I mean, and I, anyway, and there are other dirtbag leftists. I mean, Jimmy Dore and Bosch, who don't like each other, but they're both in their own way dirt dirtbag leftists. But regarding censorship, both Amazing Atheist and Kyle Kulinski are known to support absolute freedom of speech. In fact, that's their brand. That's their that is the hill they die on, pretty much. But there is a little bit of nuance that's coming from the from AA. I put his initials down on my notes. The Amazing Atheist. There's there's a little bit of nuance, and I find concerning. in other words, I have a mild disagreement with the Amazing Atheist. And having that said, I'm not. This doesn't mean that I turn against him or I consider him a good faith actor. He articulated his concerns about the speech, and in his particular case, I don't think that he's being a hypocrite. I do not think he's being. I don't think he's being inconsistent. As usual, he actually articulates his points well. I just don't quite agree with his nuance. And that's basically the point. And it's expressed in the video here. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do is dag, start all over again. I'm canceling this video. I left a process out. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay, hold on one second. I almost left an important part out, and that's the actual video. Shame on me, but I'll try to do better. Okay, give me a couple of moments here, and I'm gonna go ahead and play that video for you and comment shortly thereafter. Okay. Ba-dum-bum. La-di-da-di-da. All right. This is what happened when you do quick prep.
Loves his mama, and he drinks his oat milk. He low-key might be banging crystal ball, and his thumbnail.
Hold on.
I love Kyle Kulinski. He's a sweet boy, and he loves his mama, and he drinks his oat milk. He low-key might be banging crystal ball, and his thumbnails lately are those of a man who has given up on life. We support WOM rights. Dope! I too am down with the WOMs. Lately, Kyle's share of attention has been in decline as his audience is siphoned away by more extremist figures with more sycophantic fan bases. In this case, namely Vosh and Jimmy Dore. I know what that's like, of course. I've seen my own numbers decline in recent years as I've floundered to find a new angle since anti-SJW videos got co-opted by crypto-fascists, and the once halfway rational skeptical community has become the polar opposite of rational. Kyle's brand of common sense, gee-shucks populist leftism is no longer what's in vogue. People have abandoned it in favor of far more ostentatious cult of personality figures who, whether it's credible or not, make people feel as if they're in a more radicalized space. Anyway, I'm not here to opine about the state of leftism on YouTube or anywhere else. I'm here to criticize a recent video by Kyle Kulinski, aka Secular Talk. Horrifying poll shows public wants government censorship of internet. I'm linking the video down below in its entirety, so you can assess for yourself, the context. But here I'm just going to play a little clip show that kind of delves into the main gist of it.
There's a new poll out from Pew Research. They asked if the government should take steps to restrict false information online. Basically, half the country said yes, the government should restrict false information. 48% of Americans say, quote, the government should take steps to restrict false information online, even if it limits freedom of information. Don't get me wrong, I think misinformation is a colossal problem. I just think you have to also hold on to your principles and your values and effectively the Constitution while you combat it. So the whole job of the media should be to give people news and information and to educate them and to fact check the insane conspiracy theories. But part of the problem is mainstream media has blown all of their credibility. So nobody is believed, or very few people are believed, when they check the incorrect conspiracy theories and when they check the COVID misinformation. So, I mean, this is a disastrous poll. And, I mean, just stop and think about it, guys. If the government were to get involved and, restrict information, what would they have done in the lead up to the Iraq war? I'll tell you, They would have banned everybody who was saying Saddam doesn't have weapons of mass destruction and Saddam is not a threat to us and Saddam didn't work with Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and the war is based on lies. So everybody who was correct would have been banned because the official government position was the incorrect position. So you just can't. You can't police this stuff. It's not possible. There is no Ministry of Truth. Who's going to fact check the fact checkers? Who's going to watch the Watchmen? You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times over. But I'm honestly astonished that the numbers are this bad on this question and that it's even worse in left-leaning circles. So, listen, I know sometimes I sound like a broken record, but that's on purpose. I need to be a broken record on this stuff because it's just that important. So get out there and tell everybody you know, don't buy this. It's absolute nonsense. Stand by freedom of speech. Stand by the principle of it.
I am very sympathetic to what Kyle is saying here. I consider myself to be a proponent of freedom of speech. However, I believe that people are entitled to their own opinions, not their own facts. If a person wants to say, I don't believe in wearing a mask because it's a violation of my freedom, that is an opinion, and I think it should be protected. If a person wants to say masks are not effective at stopping the spread of COVID-19, that's demonstrably a lie, and they should not be allowed to knowingly propagate it. If a person says COVID-19 precautions are overly stifling and I would rather take the risks than conform to these guidelines, that's an opinion and should be protected. If someone wants to say COVID-19 is a hoax, that is a lie, and that should not be allowed. There's no political position that people should be barred from. But whatever your position is, your facts need to be straight and unimpeachable. And if they aren't, they have no place in the discourse. We've seen firsthand the results of rampant misinformation. They are a grave threat to our democratic institutions and to the public trust and to public health and safety. There are valid concerns about who should wield the power to stamp out misinformation. If you give the government the power to stop misinformation, they'll be tempted to use it to censor correct information that just happens to contradict their official narrative. Kyle uses the example of the lies we were told in the lead up to the Iraq War.
Okay, give me a couple of moments where I can get back and you can see my ugly mug. There. Hope that this doesn't scare the audience. Here I am again. Thing about it is, as I stated before, I respect the hell out of both Kyle Kulinski and the Amazing Atheist, T.J. Kirk. I respect them both a great deal. And the fact that in his other video, the Amazing Atheist called for a fact check administration. I understand his sentiment of what he was saying about things that are like, COVID information that's wrongful, that it could have a detrimental effect in society or what have you. And those concerns are valid. They are valid. But again, I think that this sort of thing, where do you draw the line? And the fact that the fact check administration that he proposes, it basically amounts to a ministry of truth, which I have problems with. I think of George Orwell's 1984 when I think of a ministry of truth. We already have that with the establishment media. You think about it. I mean, if we had an official fact check administration prior to the Iraq War, those who were saying that there were no weapons of mass destruction, who turned out to be correct, they would have been silenced more than they have been silenced. To some degree, they were silenced. O'Donoghue was fired from MSNBC for being opposed to the Iraq War. Same thing with Jesse Ventura when he was working for MSNBC. When Ed Schultz was doing favorable coverage for Bernie Sanders in 2016, he got fired. And yeah, what somebody might think is the truth, others may think they're full of shit. Now, do I think that Trump lost the 2020 election and it wasn't rigged? Well, every election is rigged to some degree. There's infractions on all sides. Look how third parties are squeezed out of the picture. But I think that Trump lost legitimately. some people I know think he won and he was cheated. They don't recognize Joe Biden. I don't know what, but I can have a little bit of empathy because you can see I'm a Bernie bro, and Bernie Sanders. It is my opinion, but I do believe it's fact. Also, Bernie Sanders was cheated twice from the Democratic nomination, and just recently they did a snow job on Nina Turner up in Ohio, in the Cleveland area, and that's why corporate Democrat um, is going to be the next um, member of Congress instead of Nina Turner herself. So I definitely understand the dilemma and everything. But here's the thing: look at the media, how they're shitting on the one right thing Joe Biden's doing right with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Um, do you expect me? And I'm getting a lot of criticism for being sympathetic to Biden pulling out. Even people who are critical of war, they'll be like, well, I just don't quite think that he's doing it right and everything. Here's the thing: do y'all expect me to believe the mainstream media? And no, I'm criticizing Fox, but also criticizing CNN and MSNBC and all the other usual suspects. Do you expect me to believe the mainstream media? And do you expect me to believe State Department bullshit? The military industrial complex, the covert agencies on how supposedly dysfunctional this pullout was. I even think that no matter who was the president, the pullout was going to be messy to begin with. We shouldn't have been there, for at least for the very minimum. We should have been out of there a decade ago. We can have a debate about whether it was justified to go into Afghanistan initially or not. And I respect anybody, even the neocon warhawks that wanted to go into Afghanistan and sue about 9/11, and those who are relative or absolute pacifists that are opposed to intervention at any cost. I On this scenario, both sides kind of get equal respect from me because Afghanistan was a unique situation. We should not have been in Afghanistan at the very minimum, in my opinion, by 2011 after we got Osama bin Laden. I even think we should have left earlier than that, but that's just my take. But as I said, this fact check administration smacks of 1984. And this goes over people's heads when I say this. George Orwell, 1984. I am an Orwellian. And a lot of people think, oh, you support Big Brother. No, just the opposite. Unlike Steven Crowder and Alex Jones, who try to act like George Orwell was opposed to socialism, the man was a lifelong socialist. And, whether it's George Orwell articulating his socialism and being for free speech and against the idea of an authoritarian society, no matter what ideological flavor that society is, or whether it's someone like Ray Bradbury, who wrote Fahrenheit 451. Great movie, by the way. If you never get a chance to see it, I urge you to see it. The thing about it is, he kind of argues from we'll call a proto-libertarian perspective. So I respect both George Orwell and Ray Bradbury on their principal opposition to the idea of authoritarianism. So there you have it. The thing about it is that, here's the thing. Let's say this fact check administration takes place, this ministry of truth, this pretend progressive like Joe Biden, what he could do if such an agency is set up. I mean, if you're a conservative, you have just reasons to be concerned. Now, to the progressives, if you're happy that conspiratorial, nonsensical craziness coming from Alex Jones types and QAnon types will be circulated amongst the public. Listen, what happens when you get Rick DeSantis as your president, or Ted Cruz, or Tom Cotton? Because I'm going to tell you, you may call Donald Trump a fascist all you want, but Rick DeSantis, Ted Cruz, and Tom Cotton are all 100 times worse than Donald Trump. And don't think for a second that they wouldn't keep this ministry of truth. And don't think that they wouldn't exercise their power to silence the left. See, on principle, I do not want anybody to be silenced, regardless of ideological currents. And I acknowledge that there are people on both sides that would do this. Now, I think that maybe a President Rand Paul would, on principle, dismantle this ministry of truth. I think that a President Bernie Sanders would dismantle the so-called ministry of truth, a fact-check administration. But these people, Rick DeSantis, Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, you name it, they would take the worst aspect of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and push that envelope further. And the fact that, we got people like Lindsey Graham and Marjorie Taylor Greene wanting to impeach Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over what could be perhaps the only thing that they're doing right now that's actually on policy correct. Had this ministry of truth exist right now in its current forms, I'm not that I'm important. Someone like myself could have my channel shut down because, hey, I think that pulling out of Afghanistan right now is the best thing we can do. And it's the best that we can do right now. And, who's going to fact check the fact checker? That's been a big argument right there. And I do not have enough faith in the way that our government is structured that you can have this ministry of truth and be done in a very non-biased and fair way. Sort of like the death penalty. You can't utilize the death penalty in a way which is fair. Same thing when it comes to censorship. Even censorship that could be argued to be justified, is you go and shut down certain ideas. Where do you draw the line at the end of the day? So, as I said, I think that the Amazing Atheist is a good faith actor. I just happen to disagree with him here, and Kyle Kulinski is 100% right on this issue. And I don't have any problems with the Amazing Atheist as if he's grifting towards censorship. I've listened to enough of his programs since 2008 to know where he stands on freedom of speech. And I just think on this one, he might be just, kind of mistaken. And I say that again with incredible amount of due respect. They're both, Kyle Kulinski and Amazing Atheist, are both victims of YouTube censorship. They're kind of shadow banned, and they've been losing subscribers for the past year or so. Well, and the thing about it is that I think that the algorithms are being worked up to actually silence alternative voices. They would rather for people to get their news from Wolf Blitzer or someone like that, or someone like Ben Shapiro, than they would someone like a Kyle Kulinski or someone like the Amazing Atheist, or even some people on the right like Jack Hunter, or and for better or worse, even someone like Alex Jones. But that's just my take. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, that's okay. We'll have a conversation. Please share this content, make this channel known to others. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform, no matter what ideology you have. Create your own platform and utilize it, because we're all the muckrakers of our time. And hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and so you can get hard-hitting social democratic commentary by yours truly. I am American social democracy. Peace, class struggle, and absolute freedom of speech. Take care. See y'all later.